Welcome to Let's Be Better. We believe that our greatest responsibility as a society is to give every child the nurturing guidance they deserve. When moms, dads, all of us show up with our best, children can thrive. This mission was born from a hard truth. Too often, systems meant to protect families end up dividing them. But this podcast isn't about what's broken. It's about who we can become. It's about grace for ourselves and for each other. It's about reclaiming what truly matters. It's about faith, the belief that even in a complicated world, ordinary people can come together and create extraordinary change. Let's be better. Let's live inspired. Let's break cycles, build bridges, and raise the next generation with love, intentionality, and purpose. We all receive the same gift every week, 168 hours. The question is, what are we doing with them? On today's episode of Let's Be Better, we welcome Chris Papin, an attorney, CPA, entrepreneur, and someone who's invested more than 2 decades helping business owners build meaningful success. Chris was named a Forbes Best in-State CPA, and he is the host of the BLABO podcast, which stands for Behave Like a Business Owner. Chris believes the path to a better life starts with taking ownership of our time, our habits, and our decisions. In his new book, 168 Hours, he shares a powerful reminder that when we manage our time with purpose, we don't just build better businesses, we build better lives. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm thrilled that we can kind of get face to face in this digital land that we live in.
Yeah, a lot of the shows nowadays are on the screen.
Yeah,
and we're here. We are the screen. So, welcome. So this is the Let's Be Better podcast, and it's a privilege to have you on the show. I know you've got a book. We're going to talk about that. You've got a podcast yourself, BLABO, right?
BLABO, yeah. Behave Like a Business Owner.
That's awesome.
I'll set it up now, but we'll talk about it in a minute.
Absolutely. And your background, your practice as CPA, you're a licensed attorney, and life insurance, health insurance, disability. And I think when we were talking earlier, what was the other thing you had going on?
Yeah, working towards a securities license. A lot of clients have asked us to kind of get into that space. So coming soon, I guess, is the way we should say that.
That's awesome. So you have all of those talents within one umbrella.
Yep.
It's got to be a bit of a competitive advantage.
It's either a competitive advantage or a competitive curse, depending on the day of the week.
Yeah, but your customers benefit.
We do, and that's where all of this came from. Customers over time asked me, "Can you get into the life insurance space to help us do some planning?" Yes. Give me some space to do it, but yes. And this is kind of where the securities licensing is coming from. We're trying to listen to our client base, help them with the things they want and need help with.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I when we reached out to each other, I saw your book, 168 Hours, and that's how many hours we get in a week, right?
You got it.
So,
not everybody gets that, but you got it.
No, and it's funny. So in my profession as a roofing contractor, it's even down to the second. So when in my career, when I was going up a ladder, I wanted to make sure I had the tools that are likely to be in use when I was going up that ladder, so I didn't have to then walk back down to the truck. So it's, if you can manage your day in these blocks of time, cognizant of what you had to do before, what you had to do now, and where you're going to be going. And you've written a book about that with regards to business.
Yeah, so it's built on the platform that everybody thinks being a business owner is a great idea. And oftentimes one of the goals, I guess there's 2 or 3 common goals. One of them is around, I want to create more space for other things in my life. Most will say they want to focus on their family. My kids are at a certain age, I want to be present for what's going on there. Some are focused on making more money. Some are just having more flexibility. Well, guess what? When you own a business, or 3, you sometimes don't have those things. You work more hours, you do more things, and your point about, hey, I don't want to climb up and down this ladder 17 times just to hang one shingle.
Right.
You can't in small business. You have to be efficient with the time you got. And I try to look at it through 3 8-hour blocks.
Mm-hmm.
You get work time, you get family time, or whatever else is important to you in your life.
Sure.
And you have to rest.
Right.
And for those athletes out there, there's an element where we neglect rest as a business owner. We wear busy as a badge of honor, but we don't mentally disengage, or maybe we don't physically take care of ourselves or spiritually take care of ourselves so that we can show up and be present. And the idea here is, I don't have it all figured out. I don't have the recipe, but I know what the different ingredients are, and then you are going to have to work with me to focus on what's important to you.
Right.
What do we want to carve out time for? What do we have the discipline to execute on? Because everybody gets the same time slots.
Yeah, and everybody's different, too.
Bingo.
We all have different goals. We have different dreams. Somebody might want to dedicate 12 hours a day to their business, but they should probably be taking time to make sure that they're healthy, they're well-rested, and they're if they're spiritual, which is, in my opinion, one of the most important things you can be, is have that faith. You're in line with what you're here for. It's purpose. And I think, not for nothing, but this was beautiful. When I read the prologue in your book, your mom had written, not profit, but purpose.
Not profit, but purpose. Yeah. It's she has this interesting space because she's in mental health.
Yeah.
She happens to get paid to do it.
Right.
But she's really about taking care of people.
Right.
And somewhere in whatever she did, she was in education first and then had her own preschool kind of as I was going through school. So I got to spend a lot of time present with her through that because I was in the preschool.
Right.
But it goes back to, in her case, she wanted to be around for her sons.
Yeah.
And it gets lost in business. So not to beat this thing up, but go back to one of the pillars of setting up a business is because I want to make a different living for myself. I watch people chase dollars, and they make bad decisions doing it. And it's not always about the money. I want entrepreneurs to make money. Don't hear that wrong. But you've got to strike that balance somewhere in between there that fits for you and your family.
Yeah, and balance and sort of an alignment with what's best for your family, but also be profitable, right? We don't want to be in business as entrepreneurs and not be profitable. If we're doing that, we're in the wrong model.
There's plenty of businesses that have done that.
Right.
And they go and perhaps don't survive very long.
Right.
There are nonprofits that are set up to serve a greater good, if you will. But those same nonprofits have to have more than that they take in than they outpour to be able to achieve that greater good. So.
Yeah, and I agree. And I love when I was reading about you and learning about you before we had you on the show, your podcast is really inspirational. Behave like a business owner.
Yeah.
I mean, I was chatting with one of the guys that we onboarded at my roofing company, and the reason I loved him so much, the reason I wanted to hire him is because he says whatever it is, it's accountability. If there's something that goes wrong, instead of being the guy that's pointing my hand at somebody that says, "Oh, he could have done that," even if you're half of a 1% responsible for what could have went better, just raise his hand and say, "Hey, I could have done this differently." And that's the mindset that every business owner wants and needs, and that we want from our talent too. And if you're an employee and you really want to make a difference, I want to share a quote, and it's actually Ray Kroc who took the McDonald's brand to where it is today. And it's so good because it represents what you can do not only as an entrepreneur, but as a person who's an employee, really a kid that wants to do something in life. If you want to find your passion, if you work just for money, you'll never make it. But if you love what you're doing and you always put the customer first, success will be yours. And I think that's the way I treat my customers. I'm quite confident. I don't know you super well, but I have a funny feeling your customers would say the same thing about you and your firm.
We would hope so. That's what we strive for. In professional services in particular, it's driven by the client. So we've kind of got a spin-off similar sentiment, but the way I phrase it to clients in like new client meetings is, we're aligned to help you achieve your goals. Because if you achieve your goals, I've done my job, which means I'm achieving mine.
And if everybody on your team is behaving like a business owner, they're going to get red carpet treatment regardless of who they're being served by.
I'm gonna adjust that a little bit. We want the red carpet treatment, but again, professional services are a little different, and you run into this too.
Okay.
Think, your layperson that's going to go through and say, oh, I want the shingle installed like this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if that creates a leak, the customer is not always right.
Right.
So there's a delicate balance here.
Absolutely.
You want to take care of them. You want them to hear, or you want to know what their concern is. You want to meet their objectives, but you've got to counsel them.
Yeah, and most of the time, the customers realize that you're the professional. Most of the time, but then you got folks out there with internet analysis paralysis,
Yes.
and other ways where maybe they have experience, or maybe their uncle or cousin did this same business that you're in, and they got some advice that perhaps was good or good wasn't, and it convolutes what the value prop that you can deliver to them.
Yeah, precisely. Right. And I'm going to pretend like I know something about roofing, but one of our clients shared with us, ridge vents are appropriate in certain circumstances, not all.
Yeah.
He said they look good because you don't have that box sitting on top of the roof.
Right.
But if there's not enough ventilation, or your attic space is not designed in a certain way, he refuses to put them on, regardless of aesthetics.
Yeah.
Because what's the next phone call? To the HVAC guy. Something's not right. In Oklahoma, it's hot, so air conditioning can't keep up. But it's a good example of what I see outside as this thing that I want. And we struggle with it in professional land, because every day I get somebody that calls and says, hey, I want a will.
Yeah.
Okay, what are your objectives? Well, I don't want to go through probate. I don't want A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A will must go through probate in most states.
Right.
So what I heard you say is, I want the thing that achieves the goal that I'm trying to avoid. But the client doesn't know that until we educate them.
I think this is one of the most important things in business. Sometimes it's not what you say yes to, but some customers come in waving red flags like, don't hire me. They're telling you they want your service, but they're also telling, just either make the price too high, right? You be polite, you're diplomatically correct. Say, there's a good likelihood I'm not a good vendor fit in my space in the service industry. And that's okay, because they can get service from somebody else. And there's so many people. If you're really excellent and you're the top of your craft, you don't have to let everybody hire you.
And, the add to this, because saying no in a respectful way is an art.
Right.
But there's also an element when you're in kind of business owner land. Who do you talk to about this stuff? Everybody's got an opinion. But what I've found is most of those opinions are based on either people that are no longer business owners, which sometimes for a reason, sometimes for a good reason.
Yeah, those who don't do teach.
Sometimes, yeah, right? But we get from our client base all the time, I was talking with my neighbor, or at soccer practice, so-and-so said I should consider doing something like this. Okay, well, do they have investments structured in that way? No. So they're telling you something to do based on a limited set of facts and circumstances that they don't do themselves. Why did they say that you should do that? Well, they saw it on TikTok. And I mean, we all know that doing it, like what you see on the internet's wrong.
Right.
It could be correct in the right use case, but all the other facts matter.
Right.
And that's where this kind of behave like a business owner element comes from. We do what the squeaky wheel is. We do what comes natural or what's fun to us. Yeah. Who doesn't like meeting new people in marketing and signing all the deals?
Right, and that's one thing you also do, right? It's Papin Speaks.
We do, yeah. We stand up and try to inspire people. I'm going to say it delicately, but to get off your tail and do the things you actually want to go do. Quit talking about them and go do them.
Right.
Because you're only accountable to yourself. That's it.
Yeah, ideation is cool. It's nice to have ideas, but it really is all about execution.
Yeah.
And it always will be.
Yeah.
So
sports analogies apply really, really good in these instances because, like in your case, we were talking about beforehand, you're going through a process of physically being in all 50 states to achieve a running accomplishment that most people can never dream of. But the only way to do it is to go show up and do it. You might be tired one day, but so what?
Yeah.
It's only going to last for 2 to 4 hours. You'll be all right.
It's going to be all right, man. I might have a hard time walking the next day, but it's okay.
Which I love. I'm never going to be able to achieve something like that. It sounds cool, but I wouldn't want to do those things because there's other things I have passion
And when
about.
it happens, if I have a hard, exactly. And if I have a hard time walking the next day, so who do I call? What coach can I tap into to get information on? What's the because I hadn't run before, really. This is a new thing for me. I segued from a boxing.
Really?
Yeah, I used to box, but that's not. I have children now, and
All
I
right.
have many children, so I don't want to risk my
understand.
cognitive abilities. So we segue to running, and it's a cool way to run for something. and that's what we're doing for the
Yeah, it's a greater cause.
Standing for children. And so get a coach, develop a strengthening, conditioning, and stretching program that maybe I didn't. So about coaching, so getting the right coach. You're a coach.
I am.
That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
We tease about this, coach by day, coach by night. Because I coach my business clients all the time about different concepts, but I coach soccer, have since 2001. It's a passion project. I played when I was a kid.
Yep.
I wasn't going professional soccer, so I was smart enough to, let's go be a professional something else. That's where real money's going to be for me. But the fundamentals are the same.
Right.
The disciplines are the same. There are days when it's cold outside or hot or whatever the recipe is, and you don't want to go play the game. But when you're playing a sport, it's about achieving the objective or winning or like everybody kind of knows what that recipe is. As a business owner, you have the same cold morning. But a lot of times it's just like, you know what, I'll pack it in and come in at noon.
Well, tell me this isn't true, right? You want to take days off? Well, it's the days. Those days are the days that make the difference.
They can.
They really can. It's about being consistent.
They can.
And showing up and executing.
And if you plan days off, like you should, you need rest. As an athlete, you need rest.
That's true too, yes.
So we have a tendency as business owners, and this is a we statement because I do it too, on my days off, I pick up my laptop and start working. So you strike this weird balance where you don't work when you should, and then you do work when you shouldn't, and it kind of gets the mix distorted.
Yeah.
Again, no perfect recipe.
Right.
But you've got to kind of learn this sixth sense, no different than what you're saying. Hey, my legs hurt in a different way today.
Right.
I need some help getting through this. What are the resources available to help you get out of that instance?
Yeah.
To put me in a better place tomorrow so that I can achieve the highest and best version of me the next day and the next day.
Yeah, and the highest and best version, I think this comes back to a little bit of I want to share another quote, and it's Warren Buffett, arguably the greatest investor of all time.
Right.
Right, and I look at this entrepreneur element and I keep going back to entrepreneur and employee, and I think the reason for that is because no matter what you do in life, you have your path, and no matter what you're doing to create money for yourself and for your family, you have to if you make investments in yourself, it is more important necessarily than making investments in your job, because on a daily, those investments compound. And when you wake up after reading, maybe say read 10 pages a day, right,
Yeah.
of nonfiction, and you're developing leadership, influence, the ability to negotiate better, and you're leaning into these core tenets of being a better version of yourself in a professional standpoint, right, or spiritual or athletic. Mm-hmm. When you wake up in 10 years with a big fat bank account and these visionary leadership skills and the ability to help people get to their objectives, that didn't happen overnight. That was a result of a day after day after day commitment and the compounding effect, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to share this quote by Warren Buffett. The best investment you can make is in yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that behaving like a business owner, no matter who we are, right? Invest in yourself and become better on a daily basis, and then therefore, that's in the Bible a lot too. Whenever Jesus has a point that he really wants to drive home, he says, "Therefore," and it's the same thing here. Therefore, you'll have more fruit. It's pretty awesome. Yeah. So I love the behave like a business owner. I listen to a few shows and I enjoy it a lot.
What's interesting in what you're saying, and kind of taking it back to some of what Warren Buffett's getting at, and I've had this conversation with a handful of clients too. So somebody out there has in their head right now, but isn't that selfish? And again, go back to the core tenets. This isn't necessarily about time blocking, but if you're focusing on perhaps behaving like a business owner for your 8 to 10 hour window that you're supposed to, and then doing the other things you're supposed to in the other time slots, no, it's not selfish at all.
Right.
Serving your customers' interests during the appropriate time slots, not selfish at all.
Right.
Customers that call you at 10:30 on a Friday and say it's an emergency when it's not, that's selfish.
Wicked.
And business owners sometimes do that too. They do it to their clients. They create an urgency by putting stuff off till deadlines or 11th hour or whatever it may be. But again, there's this weird symmetry, and you've used the vocabulary today, alignment. Are we in line with everybody's goals and objectives? if working the extra time is because that's warranted under the circumstance, so be it.
Right.
It's not sustainable forever,
Right.
but so be it today. So it goes back to, no, there's not a selfishness in investing in yourself.
No, not at all.
And if you do it right, most people are contributing to their community, they're supporting their family, they're helping others. What is it, high tide lifts all ships?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same type of mentality here.
Yeah.
So I don't want people to get lost in that, like, it's me. Michael Jordan's kind of popular with some of the videos that he's had, and like the NBA returning to NBC type deal. But his competitive nature is stuff that people gravitate to.
Oh, yeah.
And some of what made him great is because there were other great players opposite him, like a Magic Johnson.
Right.
He had these different relationships, the bad boy Pistons.
Yep.
So he recognized some of those competitive things made him better.
Mm.
I can see where people might see that to be selfish, but everybody was better because of it, because that competition jumped up.
Right.
I don't want people to get left behind in that, but it's a different mindset than I think that some people take with them. And I get it. Not everybody heard what I just said, and that's okay. You don't have to.
Right.
It's just one guy's opinion.
Right. You were speaking earlier about, what was it you had said about maybe if it's not going to be an 8-hour day that day, you got to give 10 because that's what's necessitated in that moment.
Yeah.
What was that you had said?
Yeah, so I'm going to relate this to CPA land. Everybody understands there's tax deadlines from
Sure.
time to time. And what's interesting is, everybody has to file their tax return by April 15th.
Right.
No one gives a rip until April 1st. So we're filing all of them in 15 days, right?
Yeah.
That it shows kind of the distortion of deadlines drive the necessity to put in more time.
Right.
Ski season
Yep.
is seasonal because there's snow only during certain windows of time.
Right.
So we have to recognize those seasonal natures and flex with it. But that also doesn't mean we're putting in stupid hours when we don't have to.
So the moment of the season. So this is it's a little bit not related, but it's analogous. So when you have and I want to jump into the parenting and children space for a minute. So we have these kids for 18 years, and especially those early blocks. That's the most important and most formative years.
Yeah.
So if we're being pulled into work, occasionally it's okay to be on your phone in front of your kids, right? But if I think there's a new word. It's called fubbing. So your phone and your snubbing. So if you look, it's a new thing. I actually taught my 13-year-old this word, and I was like, I found it from just reading, right? Yeah. So fubbing. So if, as a parent, we're fubbing and we're doing that more often than we should be, we're taking that block of time that we have, that precious time that we have with our kids, analogous to the time that when you have to really hunker down in your profession as a CPA, when the tax deadlines come and due, you only have a little bit of time with your kids. So get off your phone. And that's my call to action for me in my world on this show, is don't fub.
I'm gonna use this one, but we run into it with clients.
Right.
So clients schedule, say, a Zoom meeting. We've got 60 minutes. Generally, they're not interfacing with me every touch throughout the year, so the time they have with the multi-licensed professional, it can be pretty precious.
Right.
And we're distracted while we do it.
Right.
I don't have kids yet.
Okay.
But I've coached all these years. So like all of these 12 to 14-year-old middle school kids, I've coached lots of levels, but kind of the most recent has been that middle school age. I treat them differently. I ask them to explain themselves. And, of course, they're 12. They're, well, I mean, I saw a guy over there, so I kicked it that way. I'm like, no, you didn't. You had a thought. I watched your face. You looked up. You did a thing. Why? And try to help them verbalize what that is.
Right.
But I leave my phone in the car during practice.
Yep.
A, because 12 to 14-year-olds demand you pay attention to them. Otherwise, they're going to find themselves in something.
Right.
But I like what this concept is because people don't realize how distracted we actually are.
Yeah,
we're not present.
I don't even want my phone in my pocket when I'm talking to somebody.
Yeah.
Because if I feel it ding, I'm going to be distracted by it, and I can't give you my full attention to hear you and to just to feel what you're saying. So then if I'm not listening to you with both ears and my heart really, then it's much more difficult for us to get on the same side of the table to look at whatever we're contending with together. And I'm distracted, like, what's going on here?
So shout out to Mom on this, because I get to borrow from all of her counseling,
all right,
licensing, and degrees. But people say they can multitask. Studies have shown people cannot. They are 40, 50, 60% less efficient when they're distracted. You're not actually multitasking because you're not doing two things at once. You're doing one thing, then you're doing another, just really fast. It's kind of the essence of it.
Yeah, so when I was younger, in my younger part of my career, I would do my best to do that. And, there is a truth if you've reached a level of, like, unconscious competence where you're at the absolute best of your game and you don't even have to understand and put any cognitive resources into what you're saying to help somebody, that you can multitask. But what I learned from my business partner, my roofing company, is if you look at it like this, if you give your absolute concentration to helping this one person or solving this one problem, and you don't let anything distract you, then you're far more likely to be successful. Yep. And it's almost a certainty. If you have confidence that you can do it and you won't stop until you get it done, you're going to get it done.
And the fallacy for a lot of people is they think, oh, I'm going to focus and I'm going to get it right the first time.
Oh,
guess what? Yeah. You're not, and it's okay.
Just being able to come to the studio today, right?
Yeah, we had to adjust.
We booked a studio down the street. So thankfully, Jimmy with Design Tunnel bailed us out, and here we are.
Yeah.
So it doesn't always go right the first time, and that's totally cool. You're gonna, there's gonna be stuff.
Which is, the business owner mindset, a parent's mindset. In my case, I just associate it all with coaching.
Yep.
There's a statement for a lot of professional services. It's a practice of medicine. It's a practice. It's practice for a reason.
Right.
Obviously, we don't want to commit malpractice and completely screw up. We got to meet some standards. But at the end of the day, we've got a moving set of targets, a moving set of goals, and we're trying to do the best we can at the moment. But if you're a golfer, you're on the tee box, you aim at the green. If it's in the short grass, awesome. If it's not, guess what? You're still hitting shot number 2. Yeah. Who cares where you hit it from?
Right.
Reassess, figure it out.
Right.
It's sun's still shining. We're still playing golf, if you like golf.
One quote I really love, maybe you could share some insight into Peter Drucker's insight. So the best way to predict the future is to create it. And I know with, behave like a business owner, 168 hours. So within those two elements, you have a landscape with which this is your canvas.
Yeah.
So the best way to predict the future is
what
to
actually
create it.
comes to mind here is I had a Brazilian soccer coach. He was literally from Brazil, played on their national team, played with Grêmio down there. And I guess I should say Brazilian football coach. He'd get on to me for using soccer. But he saw everything differently. And he would ask a question like, hey, why didn't you make that run? And somebody'd say, oh, I couldn't get to the ball or whatever it is. And this speaks to exactly what you're saying. If you never make the run, you're never getting to the ball.
Right.
Try it.
Right.
And I tried some stupid stuff in games because he encouraged me to try it, and I fell down. People laughed at me because of it, but it made me a better player because I tried it. And I think that's where it's going. If you don't expand your boundaries, you don't try. If you don't, what is it? Shoot for the stars, you'll land on the moon type mindset.
Life
same
begins
kind of
at the
deal.
end of your comfort zone.
Yeah, yeah. All these things are driven towards you don't know what your limitations are until you get out there and do it.
Yeah, who would have thought you were going to write a book?
Certainly not the guy, because if you asked me back in the day, I didn't like reading and writing.
Right.
And then I went to law school. Right?
Funny how that worked out.
Had a conversation with our dean of students, and she was like, wait, did you just say that? You don't like to read and write? And I was in the top part of our class. Was not number one, but she was like, Chris, that didn't happen. I'm like, I didn't say I couldn't, said I don't like it.
Right.
And then here, to your point, here I am writing a book.
Right.
But there becomes a bigger purpose as something you need to go challenge. Who knew I had the ability to arrange words in a way that people could consume?
Yeah, and all of the lessons that you've sort of embraced over the years and learned from, you were able to consolidate that. And that's the best thing about reading. Everybody that's listening, if you don't read, this man and other men like him and other women have consolidated their life experiences, their entire, you get 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years worth of life experience into a sortable guide with which you can read and pick up for, $20, $30. If it's new, if it's old stuff, you can just go to the library and just pick it up and get it with a library card, and you can distill an entire lifetime of work into your soul. You might not be 100% with it, but to not read, in my opinion, is leaving so much privilege on the table.
It's a huge plug, so thank you.
Yes.
But B, it's 1,000% correct.
Right.
We part of our marketing conversation with clients is I have more than one license, so I see things through a different lens.
Right.
We represent thousands of folks going through these instances. I had a client many years ago where we were talking about succession planning, and they kind of came in hot. What do you know about succession planning, Chris? I was like, well, guess what? My dad died when I was 21. I had to watch my brother take over a business and help him do it. What do you know about that?
Right.
Oh, I had no idea. So sometimes you don't know all the perspectives.
I actually took a class on that at Babson, right?
Yeah.
But I bet you I don't know as much from that class as you actually got. So if I team up with you, I have the education and I have your hands-on experience. I have a funny feeling if I pay attention to what you put in that book with regards to succession planning. Is there anything in the book about succession planning?
Last chapter.
Oh.
Freebie here for everybody.
All right.
We talk about the exit of business. Every business owner will exit their business.
One way or another.
You will. The question is, 2 paths you control, 1 you do not. That's death.
Right.
If you don't plan and you die, you're out.
Right.
You can sell your business, which a lot of people want to do, or you can wind down or otherwise organize some sort of maybe to your family or something like that. So those are your other 2 options. But, brother, I'm telling you, there's too many people that just say, you know what, I'll wing it. And you will exit your business at some point in time.
Right. 168 Hours, a startup business guide that respects your time by Christopher Papin. Chris is here. When's the book being released?
So book releases on March 3rd.
Okay.
We
so
will
less
have
than a
it
month.
on,
Less 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, it's right around the corner. We're all in all of that hurry up and figure out all the things mode.
Cool.
But we'll be on Amazon. We will be on website Papin Speaks, Papin Speaks.com.
Yep.
There's hopefully all kinds of fun promotions for early adopters, and I say hopefully there will be. We just got to line all that out. That's
right,
kind of
right.
this sprint right now that we're getting our way through.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading it. Obviously hasn't been released yet, and appreciate you having me on the show. And this has been great.
So let me ask one quick question before we end.
Yeah, of course.
If you want to cut it.
No, we'll go with it.
So you travel around, you talk to a lot of different people in different regions, and I'm curious, like when you talk with folks about whatever the purpose, whether it's business, personal, goals,
Sure.
alignments, what is the most common thing that you see that leads people to success?
I would say faith is number one. The confidence, if you don't believe, it can't happen. But I would say a 1B or a strong 1, like lowercase a, would be aware of your habits.
Yeah.
So you have certain habits that are going to bring you closer to your goals, and certain habits that are going to subtract from your ability to get there. So I would say faith, and faith is the biggest, most important. I think across human history, if there's one thing that all philosophies agree with, is if you believe, it's more likely that it's going to happen. But be aware of your habits.
So if I'm hearing this right, and I'm gonna spin it a little bit, but faith is going to be the vision.
Yes.
And then you have to have some level of accountability to get you closer to that vision every single day. True?
100%.
Okay. Well, thank you for the observation. I like to ask people this question because
that's great.
There's some version that is very similar, and every single time I have a conversation or we talk about something like this.
Yeah.
So the challenge to the audience, and it's part of the book, it's part of BLABO, the podcast, it's all the things. What are you doing right now today? What's the one thing you're going to go right now today to get closer to that vision?
Right. And I think one thing that's pretty cool is if you have a goal journal every day, write down what your goal is and
Yeah.
visit it in the morning.
It's an easy way to do it.
Say what you're going to do on the day. And if you have the bandwidth, if you really want that goal, spend some time at night. Take 2 minutes at night to say, what did I do today? What pulled me closer? What pulled me away?
Thank you for letting me indulge the question. I appreciate it.
No problem, brother. Thank you for coming on.
Growth starts inside, in what we think, what we say, and what we do. Our habits form our character, and our character shapes our destiny. Becoming better means choosing grace over guilt, discipline over comfort, and purpose over distraction. Let's live with a commitment to self-improvement.